Hi, I'm at EMEX 2017 and I'm talking to John Robb of EATON. Today we're going to be having a chat about battery storage technology. John, how's the show going so far?
Mark, thanks for the introduction. The show's going really well for us. We've come here because we believe you deliver a good quality of audience, and certainly we're not disappointed in that respect, picking up some great inquiries.
Good. Great disruption in the energy market ahead. How does battery storage technology fit into this ever-changing market with electric vehicles and decentralized energy?
Okay, well, you certainly picked on two very relevant points there that are having a disruption. So if we start with decentralized energy, mainly in the form of renewables, the challenge there is that these are intermittent generation sources. So the sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow, even though you wouldn't believe it from today. So the issue there for building owners is how do I maximize the use of that renewable energy? So energy storage allows for them to store energy at times when they're not using it, so it's being generated but it's not being used, and then to put that back into their own network at times when they have a peak demand. So it certainly brings a benefit at that level. But there's also a more fundamental technical problem, more on the generation side, that when you have intermittent generation, the problem is sometimes there's too much electricity in the network, sometimes there's too little, and both of them can cause instability problems. The frequency will go up or go down. So energy storage provides a very rapid response for balancing those intermittent or those intermittent generation sources to help stabilize the network. And that brings a win also for private owners of battery systems, because the energy generators will pay for access to spare capacity in batteries to help stabilize the grid services.
What sort of incentives are we looking at here for end users? What can they expect to earn out of this?
So it really depends on what size of system they have and the capacity available. Normally the financial arrangement or the contract is through a third party, an energy aggregator. So he will own the contract between the generator and the battery owner. But again, it really does depend on how the owner wants to use their battery, how much spare capacity they have available to offer for grid stabilization services.
And presumably they can use their renewable capacity with their batteries. So what's the best way of doing that?
Well, absolutely. So, firstly, you touched on the point of electric vehicles, and I think this is we're saying this as the next revolution in the energy market, because lots of people are talking about the growth in electrical vehicles, less so talking about the charging infrastructure. And this brings a real power challenge. And let me give you a worked example. So if you took a mid-sized supermarket with 300 parking spaces, they want to make 10% of them fast EV charging points.
Yes.
Overnight, they could be putting an extra 1.5 megawatts of peak demand onto their system.
Electric avenue.
Exactly, that's a problem. Firstly, it's a problem for the supermarket owner because firstly, they won't have the headroom in their existing switchgear. Secondly, they would then have to go and negotiate a higher connection, a larger connection with the network operator, which is a capex investment. Then there will be additional peak demand charges. So they need to be thinking now about alternative solutions. And again, we think battery energy storage, so either integrating renewables or even just simply charging overnight at low demand, low tariff period, and then injecting back in to reduce that peak demand is going to be a solution for the future. And as we see electric vehicles growing, or the use of electric vehicles, that problem is going to become magnified more and more.
And it becomes a benefit for the owner of the building as providing another service.
Absolutely. So we see in certain applications, and supermarkets is a great example, this will be a way of attracting customers. So if your supermarket offers EV charging and your neighbour doesn't, which supermarket is the EV driver going to go to? But you then raised the point, Mark, about integration of renewables, and we see battery storage again is a great opportunity here. if a private business has invested in solar PV as an example, they want to maximise the return on in that investment. And again, as we've said earlier, if the sun isn't shining, then they have one of two options. Either they let the electricity go to waste, or they export it back into the network through a feed-in tariff, which isn't hugely attractive. So self-consumption is always a better option. So what energy storage allows them to do is to bank that energy, use it later in the day, so they're reducing the amount of energy they're importing, but also potentially reducing their peak demand charges again. So in terms of helping them improve their return on investment of their renewable asset, we think energy storage really gives them a winning solution.
Is there a lot of education still to be done to educate people to the benefits of this, or is there still reluctance to invest?
It's interesting because attending the show now, when we've been at previous shows, what we've been having is a lot of people coming to talk to us wanting to be educated. And we're still seeing clearly some of that, but what we're actually now seeing is people bringing live projects to us. So I think we're seeing that the tipping point is coming, that people absolutely recognise the benefits.
Yes.
I think the one area that we think still needs some education, as we've touched on, is the impact that EV charging is going to have. I think the network operators understand the problem. I don't think all business owners understand that problem. But generally, we're starting to see a lot more awareness of the benefits of battery energy storage.
Is there technological developments to go through to get the price down further, or is that happening very rapidly?
Yeah, that's happening, Mark. I mean, our first proposition is people talk to us about energy storage as a new technology, and our proposition is it's not. Storing energy in batteries in buildings has been in place for many, many years, mainly for critical loads. So we use it in data centres in the form of UPS systems, which is something that EATON plays strongly in, but also in things like emergency lighting systems. What we're talking about now is reusing that or adapting that technology to other applications. What's enabled that now is effectively the falling cost of battery technology. So lithium-ion is the current prevailing technology. That may change in the future, and really we're not so worried about that. But what we're seeing now is lithium-ion battery costs are probably about 20% of what they were in only 2010.
And is that going to continue?
And we expect further fall in the cost. What also we're seeing now, and again it's linked back to electric vehicles, as we see more electric vehicles on the road, we will see a market growing for second life electric vehicle batteries. And we believe that these batteries still have a useful life beyond their prime purpose. And in our own systems, for example, we can offer solutions with both new or second life electric vehicle batteries fitted through our partnership with Nissan Motors.
Yeah. So what kind of services and products do you offer that can push this market forward?
Okay, so hey, no big surprise, we offer battery energy storage solutions. And we claim to offer the widest range of battery energy storage on the market, from small residential solutions, typically starting at just over 6 kilowatts, through to large grid scale projects where you're talking 20, 30, 40 megawatts a megawatt hour projects. In the commercial and industrial field, we typically start a very small system, 20 kilowatt, but more realistically 50, 100 kilowatt, up to in the region of around about 10 megawatt. We've just recently signed a deal with Amsterdam Arena, where we'll be supplying them with a 3 megawatt hour system. So certainly battery energy storage, but EATON are absolutely much more than that. Our pedigree is around power management, so our expertise around power conversion, but also power distribution. So we also provide medium voltage, low voltage power distribution systems. So what our promise to customers is, it's not just about turning up and delivering an inverter and some batteries. We can manage the full integration of that energy system into their network. So we do all of the pre-engineering work with them, and we'll work with their other partners, so their contractors, the energy aggregators, to deliver a turnkey solution for what their needs are.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.